and why you should be speaking with way, why you should be listening to what she's saying. So Hafsat is a chartered accountant and a certified financial education instructor and the founder of Money with Hafsat Consulting Limited. She holds a master's degree in international management and she has over 3 years experience in financial mentoring. And she's
Yes.
passionate about helping individuals, particularly young adults, take control of their finances, build
Yeah.
sustainable money habits, and achieve long-term financial stability. And her platform, Money Chat with Hafsat, has reached over 100,000 persons. A round of applause, a round of applause, a round of applause. Thank you so much, Hafsat.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
Okay, so let's just get into it. And then while you're listening to this,
Yes.
if you have questions for Hafsat, please put it in the chat. We'll be able to bring it up for Hafsat to see it. And my first question is you have this in your bio, right? That
Really? Okay, let's look at it.
you
Yes.
started with an ordinary or a regular frustration that people have about like what happens to your money at the end of the month, right? But most people
Yes.
stay in a victim mindset forever or like stay in that zone. Okay, where does my money go every month? But like they never do anything. And if you touch
Yep.
anyone in Nigeria now, everybody's complaining about their finances, their expenses, all those things, right? But for you,
Yes.
what was that moment where you decided to take action, right? Because that is the key point that most of us have issues that we see around us, but we keep complaining about it, but
Yeah.
we never get to the point of taking action. So, what was the exact moment for you?
Okay, thank you so much once again for having me here. I love that we are actually starting with this question, right? So I think I'll say it's two times I had this moment that I wanted to take action. The first one, say I would say, let's say I did it a bit passively. I wasn't really expecting what will happen, the outcome. I just wanted to take action, right? But the second time was the one that now became something bigger at the end of the day. So, first of all, I'll say the first time was after working for a while in an organization in Kano State. I was earning less than 100K, right? And then I just felt like I've been here for a while, nothing is happening. I can still not afford some of the things that I want to get. Like, what is happening now? Is this how it's going to continue? Am I supposed to be waiting for a promotion after how many months? And based on what I've seen, right? The promotions that I'm seeing or the salary increment that I'm seeing, it is not still going to do anything to my life per se, right? So I would say at that moment I realized that okay, I needed to change my to increase my income. And for me, I just felt like I wanted to build an organization that would pay me as good as the effort that I was bringing. I remember then I had to work Monday to Saturdays, and I just felt like, how will I work Monday to Saturday? This is my time now. My time, you cannot tell me this is what my time is worth, right? So I just felt, first of all, was like I must go to an organization that will pay me as significant as the amount of work that I was doing. So that was it at first. But for me to achieve that, I realized that, wait, oh, if you say you're applying for a job, because first of all, I realized I needed to change the environment, right? The salary range that I wanted for a graduate trainee, I knew there was no way they would pay me up to that amount in the northern part of Nigeria, right? So I needed to change location, first of all. That was what I realized. Then I told myself that, wait, this job that you are looking for, if it comes, there is going to be requirement for funds. You will need funds, right? Let's say I want to travel now from Kano to Lagos. I will need money now. So at the back of my mind, mentally, I realized that I needed to start preparing for what I was praying to God for. Because God will bring out opportunities, but do you have the resource to grab it when it comes? Because a lot of people will say, if it is my own, God will send the transport to. Okay, I am looking at you. If somebody not prepared. So at the back of my mind, I just felt like no matter how little my salary was, I needed to start setting something aside. But that time, to be honest, I would say it was a bit easier. I was working from home with family. I didn't need to stress about, let's say, feeding or rent. but it was less than 100K, and I was able to, let's say, save 20,000 monthly. Anyways, funny thing was, as I saved that money, before you know, there was an opportunity that came. First of all, I had to travel to Lagos for interview, not even the job. I had to. And to be very honest, if I didn't add that fund that I was setting aside, I will not take up that opportunity. There was no way I would have been able to. Maybe I might have borrowed money to go for the interview. In fact, I would not have the confidence to borrow money for the interview because I was not sure if I would get the job. But the fact that I could afford to pay for my transport, it gave me the courage to take a chance on myself to go to Lagos for the interview. And I did that. And thankfully, I got the job. And you know what? Because I went for interview, I came back home. Then they told me I've gotten the job. I now have to pack my bag again, pack everything, and transport myself to Lagos again. So it required a lot of, let's say, funds, but I was able to navigate that because I was preparing. But I will still say that one was bearable. The moment where I realized that, you know what, I need to now take things seriously. I need to stop waiting. I cannot even wait. I'm not the kind of person that even wait for maybe government or my employer to come and help me in the first place, right? I like to take action. But the moment when it dawned on me that I really needed to take it seriously was after I had moved to Lagos, after I had resumed at a job, after I navigated and get an apartment, and then I moved into my apartment. I had just my empty mattress. I didn't even have bed sheets. There was no items. And then I realized that, wait, oh, at this rate, I have tripled my income, but my expenses is like 10 times my income. What is happening? So it was, to be honest, it was that moment that I realized that if I don't find a way to navigate things, if I don't find a way to take control of my finances, then they will send me back to my village where I was coming from. That was what I did. I just knew at the back of my mind that if I don't do something, I will pack my load and go back to Kano State. I'll be forced to go back to my comfort zone. For me, the decision to take action was the fact that I can't imagine going through all those hurdles, getting to Lagos, and then being forced to go back home or to quit on my dreams or myself because my expenses was higher than my income. So to be honest, that was when the journey started. It was that period, during that change of job, that period that I sat down, I took an Excel sheet and I created a template that I would use to be tracking my expenses. And then I decided to make it downloadable for people on LinkedIn. To me, I just felt like I want to carry people along. I don't want to do it alone. So I have this commitment mentality. If I want to do something, I needed to commit first. So a way to commit was by writing about it on LinkedIn, that I want to start tracking my finances. Oh, I don't want to be broke and stuff like that. So this was me making myself accountable to myself, not necessarily to people, right? And then I put my tracker for free online. I was like, you guys can, if you want, you can also download the tracker. Let's track our finances together. And sincerely, that was when the journey started. Like, that was when the journey started to taking control of my finances, because I realized that if I don't do that, then I wouldn't even have a chance, right? So I needed to give myself the chance to do something, basically.
What I really hear
Yeah.
from you sometimes is discomfort. Is in those areas
Yes.
where we are uncomfortable. That is where we need to start taking action.
Yes. Yes,
Yes, yes,
honestly.
yes. When things happen to you, in this year has ended, that same thing happened to you. You run out of money. Next year again, are you going to go next
Honestly.
year again doing this same thing? Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you for
Exactly.
sharing that. And I like the other thing you said about accountability. People use social
Yes.
media wrongly, right? They use it for every other thing aside from like the other aspect of it that can benefit you. And for you, you use your
Yeah.
platform for accountability, and now it has grown
Yes,
into
I
a
did.
community. Yeah,
Yes, I did.
yeah. So when you launched Money with Hashtags, right? You were
Yes.
not like a top creator. You didn't have all these followers. You haven't reached all these few people. What were the first few weeks, right? And also the other thing is, did you think of it as a business, right? Remember, you started this as an accountability thing. how did it transition into maybe a social enterprise or a business, right? And what were the first few
Oh,
weeks, like for you?
that is quite a very solid question. You're taking me back memory lane. But I think a quick way to first of all start to answer this question is, first of all, I didn't see it as a business. I didn't see it as a brand. In fact, Money Chat with Afsa didn't start to the name itself didn't come about till maybe 1 year, 1.5 year into doing what I was doing, right? So, first of all, my journey started with me just sharing my experience, my life, my on LinkedIn, right? I used to tell people LinkedIn for me started as a gratitude book. It was a way of keeping I still go back to some of my write up from 2021, 2022 to inspire myself, right? To remind myself. Because to me, it was just a way of communicating. Then now it wasn't really popular. People were not, we don't know what to do. We don't know what social media was for or not. So to me, it was just a way of documenting my experience. So it was like I was not good at journaling, but writing and putting it on LinkedIn because I was not expecting anybody to read it. I was not writing it for anybody. Me, I was just writing it for my own self. It was just a way of me saying, I'm sad today. This is what happened. This is, I passed this exam, or I did this, I did that one, so that I can go back and look at it and say, oh, you tried. So it was for myself, right? Up until when I went to Lagos and then decided to start writing about my financial journey as well. So, like I said, this also started with me trying to keep myself accountable, not necessarily as a brand or as something, right? So, from the moment when I decided, all I did was I was sharing my progress online. I was still keeping myself accountable, documenting myself, using it as a gratitude journal. For me, it was more of being able to go back and see where I was last year so that I can see that this year I've done better, right? So it was just like for me to be tracking my journey. So for the first few weeks, when I even started that, talking about, let's say, personal finance, I was just documenting. Oh, I spent this. Oh, I did this. Oh, before you know, I started sharing financial tips. And the funny thing was, I was not even about personal finance. I was more on business finance. Business finance was more of what I was doing before I even came to Lagos, right? I was doing business finance. I was even doing academic mentoring. I was not the kind of person that had this was exactly what I was doing. They were just side on to whatever I was doing, right? So I was still writing about newsletter. I have this business finance newsletter because to me, when I became an accountant, I just felt like I wanted to serve, or I wanted to use my knowledge to be useful for the people around me. And most of the people around me were business owners, entrepreneurs, all of our friends that I'm selling cake, I'm selling clothes, all these business that we do from our room, but it was never growing beyond our room. So to me, I called myself their accountant, right? So I used to write business finance tips. So when I now started realizing that I was experiencing some money struggles, I now did it side by side. Today, I will write a post about business finance. Next week, I will write a post about personal finance. So I wasn't being hard on myself. I was just doing something that I enjoyed doing, which was to show up, to advise people around me, to share my accounting knowledge with the people around me, right? So that was how I continued doing it. I remember one day I spoke with a friend and I was like, this is my newsletter. Oh, I want to give it a name, but I don't know if it should be a personal finance name or a business finance name. And the guy was like, you know what? Don't even change it to a newsletter. Just keep it as an article so that way you can write business finance or personal finance without feeling any entitled or accountable. Like I don't need it to stick to one thing, right? So that was why I stayed with LinkedIn article for a while before it even grew to newsletter. And when I started, I'm this kind of person that whenever I have an idea, I just push it out. I really do not care. I don't need to have a brand name. I don't need to have a structure. I don't owe anybody an explanation. That was the way I was living my life. Maybe when I was younger, right? I didn't really care. So what I did was I was showing up without a brand name, without everything, even color. Then the people I want to have a color code. I was not bothered about all of those things. My own was just to show up, right? So that was how I was doing. It wasn't until, or let's say a year after, that I realized that, you know what, instead of just writing Medium, because there's this Medium platform for writing blog, I used to write my personal finance tips there, right? So I was like, instead of just being a writer, just writing and sharing blog, I got inspired to start creating videos. So funny thing was, I actually wrote this story as a content today, so maybe I should just share it again. So I had this friend of mine that wanted to come and visit me, come to my area when I was in Lagos. He wanted to come to my area like a colleague. He was like, I heard there's a new restaurant in your area. I'll come around and then we can just go there and chat and stuff like that. To be honest, that night when I slept, I had this dream that I was interviewing him at the restaurant about his finances, right? Because I was into finance now, it was more pronounced. So I just had this dream that I was interviewing him about money. Instead of us to be eating and gisting, I was asking him about how was it, this and that. So to be honest, when I woke up that morning, I just realized that, wait, I can actually do this thing that I saw in my dream. Oh, I can just be making videos and putting it on YouTube. So it was that week that I got inspired to start doing making videos, recording it and uploading it. So I realized that one thing needed to happen. I needed a name to make it look sound nice, right? I didn't overthink it. I just felt like, well, I was chatting with my friend about money in my dream, so it might as well just be Money Chat with Afsat. That was how I came up with the name, created my YouTube page. It was 3 years last month that since I created that page, and that was it for me. I wasn't owing anybody explanation. I wasn't looking for perfection. I wasn't thinking it was going to be a business. In fact, there were so many things that happened around that period, but I came up with the name, created my YouTube page, and that was how it was for me. So I didn't know whether people were liking or they were not liking. My own was to share with the people around me. I was sharing, but I wasn't really expecting anything, to be honest. I was just doing my thing because I was excited doing it. It wasn't difficult. It wasn't stressful then. It wasn't demanding. It was just fun for me, right? Then there was no comparison, no finance, other finance people in the space and all of that. To me, it was just me being myself and allowing myself be me. So I would say what I would say is people need to start without too much expectation, basically. Start without being afraid to fail. Start without thinking people are looking at you, because when I started, I didn't really know people were seeing my content. I wasn't bothered. I was doing it for me, right? So yes, I would say that was how the journey during the first few years started for me. During the first few weeks started for me.
Thank you so much, Hafsat, for sharing that background. And what you said is really important. I don't know if it's I keep saying this thing in some of my conversations. I don't know if it's social media, but most times when we start, we just feel like we will get this applause. Everybody will love what you're doing, and then
Yes.
you are obsessing over weird things. You're obsessing over color, name, tagline, but
Yes.
you just started. But
Perfection.
you
Tagline. Thank you. Slogan. Tagline. This one. That one. Wake up. Mm-mm.
and I think that I also don't know if it's because people have made out careers out of all these things, right? I think the other time I was speaking with someone talking about clarity session. Somebody has built a business around clarity. Just start, you will gain clarity on the way. People have built businesses
Okay.
around logos, business name, registration, and people are stuck
Thank
in
you.
this whole
Everything.
forgetting that you just need to start on the way. The name will actually, and I love how you put it, the name even actually came to you. You were not googling online for name looking.
I wasn't up. I knew that if I take that part, I will not do anything. So one thing about me is I reduce the time between idea and action growing up. Like I really didn't care, right? Because I was this kind of person, I'm very critical with myself. I can criticize myself more than anybody will criticize me, right? So before I talk myself down out of doing something, I do it. So remember that time there was no chat GPT, there was no anything. When I write post, I don't care if there is comma, if there is full stop, if the English is bad. I really do not care. The moment I write, I will just upload it. because if I should read that thing again, oh, it is not leaving my draft. I know me. I know myself. I will not upload it. So I really did not care. I was just doing whatever came to my mind, right? I was doing it. I think then the pressure was not too much. Pressure was not too much.
Wow.
Maybe because I also had a 9 to 5. I wasn't really so bothered then. I was just doing something because it gave me this joy and excitement. I was just documenting. I was not reporting to anybody that, oh, I did this, I did that. I didn't take it like as a business or something, right? I
Mhm,
was just
mhm.
experimenting for me. So that made it doable.
Thank you, Hafsat. I think you said two key things, which is the first one is reduce your understand the type of person you are, right? And you play that to your
Yeah.
advantage. And then the other thing that applies to everybody, regardless of who you are, is reduce your time from idea to action. You reduce it, right?
Yes.
Reduce it, whether it is ugly, whether it doesn't work. I used to tell myself that if I go back and scroll to
Yeah.
my LinkedIn post 1 year ago, I just like, why are people liking this thing? Like, this is rubbish. But reduce it, you build momentum and you get better on the way. But like
Yeah.
on social media, it just feels like everyone want to start today and you already know the thing and you can already do it and you've already gone viral, but you're just
Like
starting.
everyone arrived from day one. Mm,
Exactly, exactly. And nobody gives themselves also grace, right? You give yourself grace that this might not work out and I
yeah.
would figure out, just have fun while. And I love what you said about maybe also because you have a 9 to 5. And I'm like, okay, these are most of the things we should be grateful about. I told myself like have side quests, and yes, even for me, building out this community is
Yeah.
more of like a side quest. You are not under
Yeah.
so much pressure to deliver, and you can move on. Like, okay, if it doesn't work out, let's move on. That is not. But
Exactly.
most
You
times,
move on with your life.
exactly, exactly. But
And there's
if
one
it's the
thing I
only
notice again is people will say, e oh, sorry, I think my network is lagging. I wanted to add something. One thing I noticed
yes,
a lot
please.
of people will say again is, I don't have time. My 9 to 5 is very demanding. My this, my that one. See, I can relate. I was working at a bank in financial control, very stressful and demanding time, right? I remember then what happened, especially with the way Lagos was very new for me. It was stressful and all. I wake up very early. I will enter staff bus and then I will get to work. It's either I follow staff bus and get to work as early as 7 or go on my own and get to work by 10 a.m. So the safer option was to wake up early and catch staff bus, right? Then I will get to work by 7 a.m. or 7:30 or max 7:30. That is when I will now carry my laptop and draft my content or edit my content and post on my LinkedIn. I remember then to post on LinkedIn very early in the morning was not difficult, unlike now. Then it was very easy because I'm already at work. What am I doing with my life? So it's either I do it early in the morning or I do it when I get home, right? But then writing was even easier. To be very honest, when I started my video journey, it was one of the most busiest season at work. We were in the middle of audit. Audit means we'll be at work very late, we'll close very late the next morning, back to back. It was very difficult. That was the moment that I started recording my YouTube videos. In fact, my colleagues, they were like, "As I don't understand, is it the same company we are working?" But it was because I had, and should I say, extra motivation. I didn't see the stress. I remember that time I said it in my head that this audit was too demanding. It was stressing me. I was burning out, right? I was exhausted. So to me, I was just like, if my company, they use me, make me self use myself. To be honest, that was just the idea I had in my head. That my company was using me and I was this productive. I needed to use myself as well. But so when I go back home, I will now write my own script, which means I've done something for my company. I want to do something for my own self every day. In the midnight or late at night, I will write my own script. So I needed my script to be ready before weekend, or the person that I will have my interview with to be ready before weekend. So I will do everything within the week. But it was just me saying that as I don't, if company have stressed me, myself, I must stress myself. That was how it was for me. And secondly, because to me it was also like a coping mechanism. right? It's so funny that doing something stressful was supposed to stress me, but to me it was like a coping mechanism as well. It was like, okay, let me, then it was still fun, then I wasn't having too much expectation from myself, right? So that's part of the reason why I say when I started LinkedIn, it was a gratitude book, it was easy. But when I, if you carry LinkedIn as your head, I want to blow in 6 months, you will not blow. It's pressure that will just kill you. But for me, I was not bothered about blowing or anything. I just wanted to show up, right? So that was why it worked for me. So what I'm trying to say is you can be busy, but to be honest, if you want something or if you are excited about something, instead of it being extra stress for you, it becomes an escape for you. Because when I started, for me, it was an escape. And that was why I could continue for as long as I did, because I wasn't seeing it as stress. I was seeing it as me using myself, right? Something like that.
Thank you so much, Hafsat. And I love the way you put it. And we 9 to 5ers have whole lots of excuses, right? But you've also told us that
Yeah.
we're tired, you can't do the video. Push yourself, right? Push yourself. And if you want something, I can't remember who said this thing. Side quests make your life full. See it as a side quest. See it as something to escape the world. You have done this the whole day and then do something else, right? And yes, because it's a side
Yeah,
quest,
yeah,
do it. Do it. And then don't have like so much expectation because you are, and I don't know who also, someone else talked about it, that most times when you're
yeah.
doing something, you estimate your efforts. You're like, if I've used 10 hours to do this video, it will now go viral. Forget in the initial phase, that shouldn't be something on,
It
right?
don't go very well, no, let me tell you. It is the one where you are embarrassing yourself that will go very well. Or the one that you don't even expect, that's the one that will go very well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So my next question is: you've mentored lots and lots of people, and in your community you have like over 100,000 persons. And I'm sure that even when people when we reel out the statistics, it was never that an easy sailing, right? And I'm sure that you have faced setbacks. Why we also want you to answer this question is because when people start off, and we're talking about it, how glamorization of social media, and when you hear
Yeah.
people's journey, you really think it's a straight way. Okay, you say, all right, let me start this thing I'm doing. And halfway through the line, when you start facing challenges, people quit often. And the more I read, the more I figure out
Yeah.
that the difference between people that have succeeded and people who haven't succeeded is not that they did anything extraordinary. If you keep asking them, like there's nothing
Yeah.
new they're telling you, but it's that they didn't quit, right? Um, what
Yeah.
are some setbacks you've had that almost made you quit? And kind of why did you decide that, okay, I'll keep going, regardless of all that has happened, I will keep going?
Oh, thank you so much for this question, right? There's always setback, honestly. But the first thing I want to say, if I'm being honest, was I don't think I've ever wanted to quit. I'm very honest. Not like I was I had a lot of setback, but mentally I didn't have this mind that okay, if it doesn't work, I will stop. Maybe because of my accounting background, or maybe because of my journey growing up. So it's even recent when I reflect that I come to realize that there were some mental words that I've said to myself that I didn't know that my subconscious was like sticking to that identity. I remember the first interview, formal interview that I did after I graduated, right? And all this, tell me about yourself. There was one thing that I used to say is I'm a self-motivated person. I didn't really take it seriously, but once now that I look back at it, I realized that my subconscious accepted that identity and we were living on that identity, which means I was not waiting for anybody to cheer me on, clap for me. I like it. I'm somebody that love words of affirmation, but I will always start without even it, right? And I'll also push myself through without it. But when it comes, I want it. When it doesn't come, I feel sad and whatever, but I will still. So there was two identity that my subconscious took was first of all, I'm a self-motivated person. And secondly, that I was a resilient person. Whenever I got to introduce myself and have the opportunity to say what is my superpower, I always say resilience. So I think because of that, my internal self or my subconscious have accepted that we are a resilient person. So no matter what, we want to come out as resilient. No matter how I cry or whatever, I still want to come out as resilient. So I will go back to it, right? But there were setbacks. There were setbacks. And now, so I was talking about the personality per side, and I also spoke about the maybe my background as an accountant, right? So as an accountant, during my academics, yeah, there was this side where we always talk about, oh, management accountant, you need to prioritize the long term over the short term. I didn't know the thing was staying in my head, but I realized that short term is when you do the work, and you need to make some decisions that will make you last the long term, right? If you really want to stand the test of time, you will not get the reward in the short term. So subconsciously, I was also playing a compounding game. I cannot control going viral, but I can control the amount of time that I show up and show up and show up and show up till it compounds. I think I also, there was a time that I read this book. I think it's Atomic Habits. So Atomic Habits says something about, I think, identity, right? So at first we tell ourselves, I'm bad at maths, I'm bad at maths, I'm bad at maths, till we agree that we are bad at maths and we live up to that expectation, right? Because I really say you're bad at maths and you know 50 plus 50. No, you need to be bad at maths to stick with that identity. So it also said that if you want to become something, you need to have proof of it. So I am not a writer until I have proof of writing, right? So that was how, for instance, like my blog and stuff started. I'm not a writer, but after writing 10 articles, I cannot tell, there's nobody there will agree that I'm not a writer. Whether I am bad, I have written, now there is evidence. So my journey was about building evidence. So no matter the setback, if I keep showing up, it will compound and there will be more evidence. The more evidence, the more credibility, the more I believe myself, the more I can fight imposter syndrome, the more I can get back to my feet, right? So it's more about, if you invest, you want to see the return on your investment. So the more investment you do, the more you are going to wait. You will wait for that, you will wait for that return on investment. So that was how it worked for me. But if I should give an example of a major setback, not necessarily setback, but hiccup that I experienced, right? If I should call it that one, that was maybe last year or last 2 years during my masters, during the first my first year masters. So now I had internet that was very steady. I had light. I had everything. After classes, now it was like a 9 to 5. Or we'll go to class from 9 to 5 p.m. It was like full time job, but I was still showing up. But I felt like I had more flexibility. I could show up more. The period that I now started showing up more was when my visibility on LinkedIn was dipping, to me, to my own expectation, I be to my own benchmark. That was when it was dipping. I repost even till now. I don't think that I've gone. I've never been on that virality threshold. I have just been on that consistent show and threshold whereby, as far as I show up, I'll just, people still know me. But I've never been the kind of person that maybe I'll be getting 400 likes every day consistently. It has never been that way. I could get 4,000 today, but for the next 1 month, it could be 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. I really do not care, right? But during that period, I was doing a lot of things. So I was aware at that period. I was waiting for rewards. I was seeking out rewards, like momentum. I really wanted it because now, before I showed up without paying attention to metrics and whatever. Now I was showing up and paying attention, and I was not getting what I wanted, right? I would show up every day back to back. I would see my impression so low. I was not trending compared to my peers that I think I started with then. I just felt like every other person was doing well, but after was not doing well to my own standard. Because when I tell people this, they'll be like, what are you saying? But to my own standard or to my own benchmark, right? I wasn't performing well. So it was affecting me. I think I was even beginning to compare with some of the people that I started, even though they were not even in my industry or my sector. I was just comparing myself unnecessarily. So I was so hard on myself that period. I felt like I was not growing. I was growing small, 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 small. People that I started with were reaching 40K. Me, I was in 20 something K. Like, what is happening? I saw a lot of people was doing, oh, I'm top 5, top this, top that one. I am LinkedIn. What is the name of that blue icon? I've forgotten. I never got it till today. But I remember at that period, I think early 2023, I think I really wanted it. early 2024. I think there was even a day I came online because LinkedIn was my major community then, my major from then. I remember that day at work safe. That was even before I'd gone far. There was one day that I just saw my followers was just reducing. I think LinkedIn was doing all this. It was mopping people that were inactive. So I lost maybe like 2,000 followers. Just looked at it. So the second time that happened was when I was in my year one, like I mentioned. And I was showing up every day, but the metrics was just going down. I was not progressing. I was so hard on myself. So I would say that was the moment that maybe I felt like quitting. I didn't feel like it, but I felt like maybe I might just stop, or I might just stop showing up for a while. So that was one of the most difficult period for me. But what I did was, I think it took me about maybe 2 months, 3 months. I was in that deep phase of feeling sad, feeling a bit maybe depressed. I was also homesick because I was in a different country. So many things was happening, right? But somehow I sit it out. I just waited it out. I let it go. And then I just continue showing up. Like no matter how sad I was, no matter how I was feeling, I just kept showing up. You won't believe it, the next year, the following year, because now while I was waiting that setback period, I was training myself. I found other ways to keep showing up. So for instance, let's say maybe prayers. Yes, it worked for me. Also, I was talking to myself. I was maybe not necessarily meditating, but I was finding a way to comfort myself. Oh, don't compare yourself with people that have more support than you, or people that were in other industry. Don't link your success to metrics, all of those kind of way you talk yourself out of stuffs like that, right? So somehow I was building my resilience again, my resilience threshold. So things were not showing up the way I wanted, but I kept showing up. I didn't let it take the best of me, right? As God will have it, I think 2025, if I'm not mistaken, or 2024, was it last year or last 2 years? I can't really remember the date, but the year after that year that I felt so down, I tripled all my followers. Like I tripled because I had been showing up for like 2 years or 3 years consistently. So as at that time, I think I ended the year with like 25K or so. The next year like this, I saw myself at, is it 50K? Which means it took me 3 years to get to 25K. And in 1 year, I got to 50K, which means I literally everything just doubled when I stopped. So imagine if I had given up at that period, or if I let it get the best out of me, right? But I didn't. And I just navigated it. And the following year, to be honest, I doubled every. It was when all these 50K, I'm getting to 60K. I didn't even know what was. I was just like, how is something that was making me cry last year? How is it that I have it this year? And the funny thing about life is you will get that thing finished and you'll be like, so this is it. This is it. Because when I got the 60K finish, I was like, but the 60K did not even come with money. What is happening? But then I'm like, outside, is it not 60K you wanted before? Now see it now. Why are you still sad? So sometimes if you tie your progress with some of those metrics, when you get it, you will not still feel maybe excited for a day or two or a week. And after that, you realize that it's still the same cycle. Getting to 60K doesn't mean you will not keep uploading, or you will not keep showing up, or you not keep marketing yourself like you want to die. You will keep doing it. Oh. In fact, now you want to have hypertension because you realize that now I have, but these small people are still not converting. What will I do? So it's like it gets harder, right? So for me, I was playing a compounding game. I was showing up because the more I show up, the more I become known for that thing. So doing all of those like workshop and stuff was a way for me to just also break my fears, right? So I remember I started with write up, and from write up to video, from video to webinars, from webinars to maybe like speaking and stuff like that. I was training myself. It wasn't about the metrics, it's about training myself. It was about preparing for opportunities before I got it. Nobody was inviting me to come for webinar. I started my webinar by myself. I wasn't waiting for anybody. Me, I know they send me, I know send. I'm not waiting for God to hand down things to. In fact, God, like I just realized that I've noticed myself, I've noticed the way patterns, things work out for me in my life. Things don't really get handed down to me. I need to find what I want. I have realized that is how like maybe God blesses me. Like I have to fight for it. So when I saw a lot of people were doing, oh, you're invited for this event, yeah, nobody was inviting me. Oh, I'm not waiting for an invite. I started doing my own monthly webinars, and that was how things kicked off, right? So I was training myself, I was playing the compounding game, I was showing up, and that was it for me, to be honest. And that is what any person needs to achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve. Let me not bore us with this talk. I think I will stop here.
Foreign us, I think one of the first things that you have said over and over again is the importance of self-talk, right? What you tell yourself
Yeah.
matters. And sometimes that is what will save you because everybody is going to face a big
Yes.
challenge, right? Have you been telling yourself you are bad? I'm not good at this. I can't do this. It's not possible. And truth be told, we all face some of those thoughts and they come, but you need to
Yes,
reaffirm to
we do.
yourself. And one thing you said about self-confidence, I think is Alex Homozy them that talks about it, that you need to give, not people, you need to give yourself proof that you can succeed. You really need
Yes.
to. Because when the
Yes.
chips are
Absolutely.
down, your brain will be looking for signals. Have I ever done something and it succeeded? You need to give yourself proof. You need to, and someone said, yes, you're accountable to people. Be accountable to your own self. When you decide
To
you're
your
going
own
to do
self,
something,
exactly.
do it because when the chips are down, your brain will say, what have I done? What have I done? Nothing. You've not done anything with your life. All the plans you set, none of
Exactly.
them are the probability of you getting out of that slump will be high,
Honestly.
will be lower because you don't have any proof to yourself. And no matter what people tell you, when you go home, you will be telling yourself, I cannot do this thing because you don't have proof. And one other mindset shifts that you've also told
Honestly.
us is
Yes.
long-term thinking. Long-term thinking. We should stop playing the game of short-term thinking. And that's what reads off of joy, causes
Joy.
comparison, and all those things. Long-term thinking. Long-term thinking is really critical, no matter whatever you're working on, no matter you know, the aspects of
Absolutely
your life that
important.
you're
You have
doing.
to think. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hafsa. I am enjoying the conversation. I'm going to check. I'll ask you the last question, okay, the fourth question, and I'll check social media for questions
Okay.
because I
All
think
right. Okay.
we are, we are having important. Let me even digress a bit, right? You have you have reached people and you have been talking about money, and I think this is my own personal question. It's not saying what I wanted to ask
Yeah.
you, which is how easy is it to have conversations around money, right? Especially in Nigeria, not only in Nigeria, in Africa, um, we have a culture around, we are very hush about money, right? And money habits and what people are doing about money. How easy is it to have some of these conversations, right?
Sorry, please. My network is a bit slow right now, so I'm not sure I got the question. I'm not sure I got the this question.
Okay, I will take it again. So I was asking
Thank
how
you.
easy is it to have conversations around money with people, considering our culture, and it's not just Nigeria, Africa as a whole. People are usually hush hush about their money, and nobody wants to say what they are doing.
Yes.
Okay, rich people never want to tell you how they make money, no matter what they do in books, no matter what. Poor people never want to show it, say what they
Yeah.
are doing, embarrassed about it. How easy is it to have conversations around money?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
All
yes.
right, so I like this question because now this question is more about my job and what I do, right? So to be honest, it's not so easy. It's not always so easy. And one thing I experienced when I started was I realized that
Okay, I think we lost Hafsat. Let's give her a moment. Okay, great.
yeah. So can you
Yeah,
hear me
Hafsat,
now?
you're back now. Yes, you are.
I say yes. This question is more about my experience and the job that I do, right? So I remember when I started, I saw a lot of people were monetizing their skills, their knowledge. I was envious at that time, right? I was like, why me?
Okay, I think the network cut off. Let's get Hafsa back. Let me know if you have any questions
Okay,
for
let me try
Hafsa.
to.
Okay. Hafsa, is your network
Hello,
better
my
now?
network is. I don't know honestly. I can't tell. It's the same network. It's just tripping off now.
Okay, okay. We're talking about money and it's suddenly
So I
tripping
said
off, you see?
yes. Yeah, so so when I started, a lot of people honestly don't want to talk about their money. And it also affected me because while others in different sector that were building a brand, they were monetizing, they were making money, right? Me, I wasn't because I was talking about money. So imagine me talking about money and telling you to pay me money to teach you about money. It sounded weird, right? Even me, I couldn't process it then, right? It was only for the big players that knew how to position themselves. And me, I was trying to bridge this gap between the haves and the haves not, right? So when I started, I wasn't positioning myself for people that could afford me because the people that could afford me will actually even pay higher prices to people that to the bigger guys, right? To maybe wealth managers and stuff. And me, I wanted to talk to people like myself that were struggling. So how can I even tell them to pay me? So it was quite a bit of a challenge. And what I tell people, or what I experienced personally, is I would say for the first 2 to 3 years when I started, I was focused on educating my audience. So, there's this guy I used to follow that on LinkedIn, Oche Writes. It was through him I learned different kinds of customers, right? There is the problem unaware audience. They don't even know they have a money problem. So whatever product you are selling, you have three like different categories of consumers. There is the problem unaware. They don't even know that they have a problem. Then there is the problem aware. They know they have this problem, but they don't even know that they know it is a problem, but they don't know that there is a solution for it, right? Then there is those that know that they have a problem, there is a solution for it, but they are contemplating if they want to pay for it. Me, my audience were on the first category, so you should imagine how difficult it was for me. My own was the problem unaware audience. Those were the people that I was that were my target audience. You can imagine. So I spent the first few months or even years, at least 2 years of my journey, educating my audience, making them realize that it was a problem. It was a problem that had a solution, and it was also a problem worth paying money for, right? So right now, I will say the Nigerian market, the sensitivity now it has changed, especially around money. Because the moment I start doing it, there are a lot of people that were actually doing it before me. I had my mentors, the likes of Money Africa, the likes of Smart Stewards. They were mentors. In fact, I didn't know I would be doing something similar to what they were doing. They were mentoring me. Before I started doing it. It was now that I realized that wait, I can even call these people my colleague. They are my boss. So you get right, something like that. But somehow I faced my fears. I started showing up, and before you know, I can say, okay, they're my senior colleagues in the industry. But if I didn't even show up, I wouldn't even put myself around that kind of maybe area, right? But basically, they were educating people. I was also doing it. The thing is, you would think that. So, for instance, we have a lot of tailors, but every day we will still keep having tailors. And sometimes you'll be like, wait, oh, how will we have more tailors than citizens? It's not possible, honestly. Sometimes you think your market is saturated, or you think that what you're saying is not new. It is new for a lot of people. So no matter how they were industry players, they have not reached everywhere. They have not reached everywhere. They have not covered. You might see them that they have 1 million followers. There are still 100 million that they have not reached. So people like myself and other people coming up still had work to do. We still had room. We had see, for instance, the banking sector. It has been evolving for years. It is still evolving. You will think by now everybody have a bank account. It's a lie, yo. Many people still don't have a bank account. And they are even still giving out back to people every day. These people are becoming youngsters, right? So I was dealing with a problem unaware audience. And what I did was I didn't pressure myself into monetizing, into doing a business. I learned on the way, to be honest. At first, I didn't understand all of these peculiarities about my industry, but I learned over the time, right? So what I did was I educated them. I made them realize that I am somebody they go have this conversation with. When they think about money, they should think about AFSAT, right? That was what I did. I positioned myself. It now became, I would say, I was part of those that brought down the, what would they call it, the barriers to having conversation like this, right? I draw down the curtain. I don't know if that's the proper way to frame it, but I break down the walls, yes, to having conversations like this, because I kept saying it every day. And I was saying my own journey. So it wasn't like I was telling them, do this. I was saying, this is what I did. This is what I suffered. This is what I did. This is how I think you should do this. This is how I navigated this. So I brought it to relatable terms, the way they can relate with. Many people are broke like me. So I need to share what I am doing, because I told you that I am broke, but I moved from Kano to Lagos, from Lagos to Morocco. From Morocco, I came back to start a business. You'll be like, but you say you are broke. So I need to prove to them that, yes, I am broke. I am still very much broke like you, but I did this and it is working. So please do it as well. So I didn't come as a teacher. I came as maybe a colleague, a friend that is suffering like them. I came like somebody that was sharing the same dreams like them, the same challenges like them, right? So that was how I was able to break the walls. I remember like 2 days ago, I shared something on my Instagram, because I've been building on LinkedIn for like 3 to 4 years. I was also building on Instagram, but my Instagram was not growing. It was not growing. My Instagram have made me more depressed than my LinkedIn. Up until December last year, I'm telling you, I had less than 2K followers on my Instagram. But what if I tell you right now I'm on 11.1K on Instagram in less than 4 months? You can imagine, after building for like 4 years, but in less than 4 months, I've gone from 2K to 11K. It was consistency. So I made a post 2 days ago on my story. I was saying that I to be honest, I know I've been building, but I didn't know people were going to trust me like this, because during Ramadan, I made a lot of sales. Right now, things have slowed down a bit again. But last month, I will not forget, like it was like a miracle for me last month, right? And I was making a video that thank you for trusting me, because I didn't realize that what I was doing was building trust. When people came to my page, they saw that I have showed up for like how many years. They trusted me immediately. They saw my face, they saw my brand, they saw my videos that were blurry, like their own. They saw that this is somebody I could relate with, and they were booking sessions with me. The same me that I was doing free session, people will not attend the session. Now I've put a price on my session and people show up, to the point that I had a client that was telling me that I should review my prices upward. It is still too affordable. That was what a client was telling me, right? But 2 years before, I put 3K. People did not pay 3,000 to have a session with me. As of right now, I currently do maybe a session for like 30K. People pay. And I still want to review it, because I know that I'm still even, it's still too affordable for what I was offering, right? So it's a journey, but I focus on educating my audience. And while educating them, I was building credibility. I became somebody that they could easily, if I'm chatting with somebody on Instagram now, I don't need to mince my word. I'll just ask them outrightly, how much do you earn? They will tell me. I don't need to ask 2 times or 3 times. What they will not tell their family members, they will tell me, because I've built that credibility. I did not come online and be saying, this my client is earning so amount. No. Even if I would do that, I will ask for my client's permission, and they'll say, okay. Sometimes I will invite them. I will say, oh, this client used to be in debt before. The clients did not mind, honestly. They are the one allowing me bring them and talk about them, right? So I built trust. I built this credibility, and I focused on educating, because your audience. So for some of us, our business started from educating our audience before monetizing it. But for other people, you already have a solution aware audience, and all they need is your solution, right? So that was how it was for me. Till today, people don't talk about money very well, but I can assure you it is better than it was 3 years ago, because now we have a lot of financial, the the educators, the professionals, and also the content creators. But at the end of the day, both players are helping us break down the barriers. So yes, it has been a very helpful journey so far.
Thank you so much, Hafsat. You have shared amazing stuff, which is, while you might have an idea, depending on the audience you have, you might not monetize immediately. That shouldn't also discourage you.
Yes.
Also, I don't know if it's on TikTok
Yeah.
now, there's also the whole campaign, because people are not getting jobs easily. There's also the whole campaign around monetizing your skill, right? But sometimes for some people, the skill you have, people don't know they have that problem to solve to pay you for your
Yeah,
skill.
exactly.
You shouldn't also be discouraged about it. You should take a long-term view if that is your case. Because it's not always monetize your skill like you become a millionaire. Because, and I also think it's marketing tactics, which also has negative consequences on our society. People have genuine skills, but their audience or whoever, or even Nigerians, or even us, don't know that we have that problem. So take a long-term view, educate your audience, and with time you'll be able to, you know, monetize that audience. My next question is really that you
Okay.
have
Yeah.
the theme of the thesis of our conversation, and even on this page, is really how do
Yeah.
ordinary people, right, become people that will change the world. And what you're doing with Money You Have Sat is that you are changing the world, whether you know it or
Yeah.
not. Because even when you look at the popular financial educators, it's really hard to see someone from your side of the country. It also means that people there will trust you more than they will trust them. And you've also touched on saturation. No place is saturated. You would find your own
Yeah.
people once you start. No, no industry. Nobody has your story. Nobody knows what you know, and you've
Yeah.
touched on that. I want you to also share something, whether it's in people's money journey, whether it's in building solutions, because I think I was talking to some youths yesterday. We're like, nobody is coming to solve our problems. We are the only ones that can solve our problems, right? But a lot of people have
Honestly,
dreams.
nobody's solving it for you.
Yeah, it's not the politician, it's not the government, right? It's us that will solve our problems.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have big dreams and they are stuck in this dreaming phase. And this is April already. This year is will soon be past us, right? But people keep dreaming and dreaming
Yeah.
and they don't execute. And if you touch anybody, even me, I have 1,001 ideas I want to implement, but execution, right? So, how do people get out of
Yeah.
dreaming? What are the actionable things that they can start doing today to take action, to start working on their dream, to start impacting their society?
Mm. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. That's a very loaded question. So what I would say is, don't wait to have things figured. Don't wait. So for instance, one of the things that I will not say maybe helped me, because at the end of the day is, if you take an opportunity, that it becomes something that help you, right? Because an opportunity to come, and if you do not recognize it as an opportunity, if you do not show up, it has gone, right? So when I started showing up on LinkedIn, there was one time that I celebrated my birthday. I went to snap this very gorgeous picture with a white dress. I uploaded it and boom, I was going viral. I said, what is this? I did not expect it. To me, I was just laughing. I said, what is this? Oh, who is this? People, oh, are you people seeing me all from my corner in Kano State? I even went to office that day. One of my boss, the women in my company, like, oh wow, Afsa, you write so well. It was so funny. I was so laughing. You cracked me up. I was like, what did I write? When they laugh, they could not laugh. In my head, I was like, what is this? But from that day, I just felt like, okay, I'll continue, because I was already showing up. I think at first I had this pressure of niching. Okay, what I want to be known for. It's not just my picture people came for. What I want to share. What should I say? I had this anxiety and whatever. But later I was like, you know what? Just continue you. If they want to unfollow, they should unfollow. When you now finally get inspiration to do something, then you do it, right? So the first few weeks, I felt this pressure to continue maybe answering questions, trying to show up and all of that. But it took a while, before I found myself doing personal finance. And I didn't hesitate to pivot because, first of all, I was like, if you don't like it, go somewhere else. It's not, you get, I was not really waiting to do what they like or do what they want to hear or what they want to see. I cannot be posting my new pictures every day and writing stories. It's not sustainable, right? So I did that. Secondly was I didn't wait to have things figured or perfect. I spoke earlier when I started with a article instead of doing newsletter because I didn't know if I wanted to niche or not. I've tried so many things. I remember I used to be a academic mentor. If I wasn't in personal finance, I would be a academic coach. That was what I started doing. I was doing it in a WhatsApp group. I was training students. I saw students were failing a lot. I just wanted to coach them. So one thing I first of all knew was I was somebody that was big on maybe advising. So I knew that that was something I always want to do, to advise people, whether relationship, whether academic, whether finances. So I knew one day I would always end up there, right? But I wasn't too hard on myself. I tried things. Whenever I had an idea, I tried. If I didn't try these ideas, I won't find myself in money chat with Afsat, right? It will still be in my head. I will still be thinking, what would it have been, right? I didn't wait to have a brand name or a brand color. I didn't wait. I remember there were times where I should have had a brand name or brand color. I didn't keep myself. I just continued. Up until one day, I think I made a post. There was this I snapped with something like purple. And I had to do a design. I saw the purple color stick. And since then, it just became my brand color. I didn't keep myself. Oh, it's my picture that inspired my color. And I stick to it. I added yellow. It was fine. I continued. Well, you see a lot of people say, my brand color have to be this, have to be this. I cannot keep myself. Even my LinkedIn page for the past few months, I felt like I should have revamped it. But I say, see, I cannot keep myself. I cannot keep myself. Because when you look too much of all the things that should happen before you continue, you will not do anything. You'll be overwhelmed. So what I try to do is I try to reduce my level of overwhelmness, if there is a word like that, right? I try not to be too overwhelmed by everything, right? So I just show up regardless, right? So I don't wait for things to be perfect. I don't wait for people to confirm if the idea is good or not. When I started, I know I used to share, I used to wait for feedback. Well, I remember that when I was getting some feedback that I did not like, I stopped asking. I just continued. Because I felt like the feedback I'm asking for is like expecting people to tell me that I'm perfect from the beginning, and it's not possible. So the more they tell me it was not good, the more I'll be finding faults. So I started avoiding cycles that made me guess myself, second guess myself. That was up until last year. I remember last year I cut off from a lot of cycle. So which means despite the fact that I was showing up very well, I was still getting some side talks that I wasn't liking. I cut off myself from all of those spaces that made me doubt myself or guess myself, right? So I kept showing up. And then the thing about leadership or community, for me, it was just from the fact that when I was in school, nobody taught me about money, and I just wanted to teach other people about money. That was just the thing, honestly. So it wasn't like I woke up and say I want to be an humanitarian. Sometimes I always tell myself that I think I still want to be in NGO or whatever, but I don't beat myself up. I do it the way I can. So I remember part of the reason why I came in contact with you was because I wanted to do a project. Till today, I didn't really get sponsors for that project. But this week I was with my team and I was like, you know what, we are pushing out the flyer regardless. We are going to kick off the project. I wasn't going to wait. Like I wasn't going to wait for the United Nations to come and fund my project before I was going to do it. I will do it within my capacity, right? So I remember one time I was like, I wanted to start training students. So what I did was I will reach out to this student and tell them that I want to train them. I did that for a while. Now is students. I don't even know how, but it's these students that are reaching out to me every month. Please do session. I say, please, I don't have time. Don't kill me. But by doing that, I have trained over 1,000 students. I've reached students from over 20 universities. I didn't know. From something that I felt like, I don't have to do it this way. I'm not making money, but I just kept showing up. So sometimes those humanitarian activities that you want to do, just go with whatever thoughts come to your head, and before you know, you've done something remarkable, right? Don't have it figured. Don't wait for people that will fund your idea. Don't wait for support. Don't wait for a team. I didn't have a team until last year. I was doing 100% of my things myself. I did not have marketer, designer. I had like 7 responsibilities that I was doing myself, right? I was just doing it. So when you start, just do it. Don't wait for things to be ready. You don't have to have a full plan. You just need to have an idea. You just need to show up. Yes, show up. I remember this one of my one content creator that I know I listen to very well. I like to watch is Salem, right? I remember a few years ago or a few months ago, Salem was like, stop focusing on metrics that are outside your control. Focus on metrics within your control. So, for instance, I cannot control 100 people to like my post, but I can control the fact that I can be posting every day for 100 days, right? So, the is it input is what I can control, output, or I don't know how to say it, but what I can do is to create content. What I cannot control is who like it. So my metrics should be creating 10 posts, creating 100 posts, showing up for 100 days, showing up for 10 days. Those should be my metrics, not 20K followers, 50K followers. That is not what I can control, right? So I start by doing things that I can control. If it's 10,000 I have monthly, I focus on saving 10,000 monthly. When it becomes 50K, I use it to do something, right? I do not wait for until my salary increase and stuff like that. So basically, it's about if you have an idea, implement it. Find low cost ways to implement your ideas. So, for instance, by using social media, I don't have to subscribe to LinkedIn to show up on LinkedIn. All I need to do is show up, right? So, Canva, for instance, I was using the free plan for as long as possible. Zoom, I was using the free plan. Everything, I was using the free plan. I was learning it by myself. I did not wait for a designer to create my first flyer. I learned to do it by myself. So I trained myself, learn it, show up. I was ready to learn. I was ready to fail, but I wanted to fail fast and fail forward, right? So that would be the key lessons or what I would advise anybody that wants to start showing up basically.
Thank you so much, Hafsat. And I like what you said. And I think one of my mentors also says this, focus on input goals. Don't focus on output
Yeah,
goals, focus on input, what you can control. Stick to that, right? And let that be your own measure of success. I said I will post for
exactly.
100 days in 2026. Yes, my success is what I posted for 100 days, not I now suddenly have 1 million followers. That's not up to you. And you can't kill yourself over that. There's nothing you can really do about it, right? But if we focus on input
Exactly.
goals, we will have the right frame of mind. I know we are almost out, we're out of time actually. But there's this one comment here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you. So share a money tip with us for 2026. At least we saw you on this stream.
Yay,
Why
yay,
not see
yay,
you again?
yay, yay,
And it might not
yay.
be free. We message you. So so this time share a
So a
money.
money tip for this year is, yes, a money tip for this year is start with a goal. Many times there are also many things we want to achieve. We want 10 million naira at the same time, but you cannot have 10 million at once, right? So break it down into goals and take it one by one. The goal might be million naira in revenue this year. Then break it down. How many products do I need to create? How many customers do I need to reach? How often do I need to show up? Take that goal back to what you can do to become somebody that can earn that money, to become somebody that can attract that money, right? Many of those goals are output goals, but is the income is the input you should focus on, right? So don't create goals of, hey, I want to make 10 million naira and then kill yourself. Are you somebody that can attract 10 million? Do you have the skills? So work back to get the skills, to get the audience, to get the brand, to get the product. Work backwards, and then you find that somehow, one by one, step by step, you will have that, you will start making the money. For instance, personally, that is what I'm applying. I have like a revenue goal this year, but I'm working backwards. Oh, I create this product. Oh, I try here. Oh, I show up every day. Oh, I do this. Oh, I do that one. Then my goal becomes showing up daily instead of getting the money, right? So have those kind of goals. Then again, start with things within your control. Everything boils down to things within your control. You cannot control inflation. You cannot control exchange rate. You cannot control fuel prices. What you can control is what you spend your money on, what you allocate your money towards, right? So try to allocate your money towards upskilling, towards putting yourself in rooms and spaces that will increase your earning capacity. Do anything basically that will increase your earning capacity instead of you trying to fight inflation that the whole other way, or waiting for government to come and share bag of rice. It will not reach your head. Oh, that is the honest truth. It will not reach your head. So start with what you can control. Even if it's, I started my savings journey or my financial journey by saving as low as 1,000 naira. I remember when piggyvest came out 9 years ago. I am very certain I was one of their first set of users, right? I used to save 1,000 naira. Then I'll follow my daddy to work. He will give me money, and then I will save 1,000 or even for 500. And that was how I started. I started by building financial discipline. So don't look at the money that it is insignificant. For your financial situation, it is significant. Is when you are benchmarking with other people, you think it is insignificant. But based on where you are, even if it's 1,000, it might be significant for you, right? So start small, start with what you can control, and focus on increasing your earning capacity and have goals, achievable goals. Make sure they are goals that are realistic, goals that pushes you to become more and do more. Not goals that make you realize that you are far from where you want to be and then you just give up. Don't make your goals be over ambitious. Your goal should be like 60% within your capacity, 40% audacious, right? Because what your brain needs to know that you are capable of achieving things. So for instance, let's say my goal is 10 million. I will start with 1 million naira. When I achieve 1 million, my brain will know that I'm somebody that can achieve my goal. Then it stops being afraid. But if I just wake up today and say I want to go from 100,000 to 1 million naira monthly income, your brain will look at you. How do you want to do it? It won't even believe you. Your mind won't believe you. But if you say I want to go from 100K to 300K or even 200K, your brain say, okay, this is doable. Now you're speaking my language. Let's see what we can do. When you do that, so the thing is, our confidence threshold, it doesn't go like a straight line, arithmetic progression, or how did they say? It grows geometrically, like it triples, it fourples, it's that's so if you can achieve 200K, your brain immediately say, oh, you can do 500. When you do 500, your brain will say, now you can do 1 million. Your brain will not say 600, it will say 1 million, it will say 10 million. Because the more you achieve, the more your brain and your mind sees you as somebody that is capable, and the more it starts to trust you. So that is my money tip for this year. Go for goals that are within your capacity and somewhat audacious. And when you achieve it, make sure the next goal is bigger and you're capable of achieving it, basically. So yes, that would be my money advice or my money tips for this year. Invest in yourself, basically.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hafsa. Thank you so much. Thank you. We're clapping for you. Thank you so much. This was an amazing. Thank you, thank you,
Yeah, I
thank you.
love this session. I love this session. It was fun.
Yes, yes. I learned a lot. I think one of your closing tips is how we can achieve our goals, right? I know you said it in terms of money, but I think this applies to every area of our lives. We should set goals that are
Yes, absolutely.
60% within our reach, but 40% audacious. Please, if you didn't take anything away from this live
Yes.
session, whether you bump into it much later or whether you that is a key takeaway point. It helps signal to your brain
Yeah.
that this is within my reach, but then it's a bit, so it's in the boundary. And then you will always increase the stakes
Yeah.
as you show confidence, as you prove to yourself. People are trying to prove to other people. Prove to yourself that you are capable. And
So,
that's also
is your prayer self that is your competition, oh, not people. Hey, prove to yourself, oh.
exactly, exactly. Not to people, it's to yourself. That is who you owe that proof to. You prove to yourself and you increase the
Honestly.
stakes, right? And that's way to achieve our goals. Thank you so much, Hafsa. Thank